Hi there. In this video, we are going to discuss some typical interview questions. We will discuss two types of these questions and finally look at a few questions you should ask in an interview. In a typical interview, the interviewer, or interviewers, as sometimes there may be more than one person, is there to find out if you are the right person for the job. If you are in an interview or preparing for one, then congratulations. You have got this far because the employer is seriously considering you as a possible employee. However, you now need to show them that you really are the person for the job. You can do this by answering the questions the interview asks you in an honest and detailed way. Honest because the interviewer wants to know if you are the same person you say you are in your resume and cover letter. And detailed because you want to give enough information in your responses. During an interview, some questions will be direct and some will be indirect. An example of a direct question is, why are you a good fit for this job? Or why do you want to work for this company? These questions should be pretty clear to understand and answer. Since both questions use why, you should give reasons in your answers. So you might say in your response, I believe I'm a good fit for this company because I have the necessary skills and experience to fit right in and help the company grow. However, indirect questions are more difficult to recognize. An example of an indirect question is, so tell me a little bit about yourself. It's called an indirect question because the question doesn't begin with a WH word like what, where, when, why, who, and how, which direct questions often use. However, it is still a question, and you need to listen carefully during the interview for these types of indirect questions. Let's look at another example of an indirect question. I wonder if you could tell me about a time when you faced a challenge and you overcame that challenge. Again, no WH word is used at the beginning of the question, but the interviewer uses the expression, I wonder if you could tell me. The interviewer is asking you to share an example from your own life when you had a challenge or a problem and explain how you solved that problem. So, when you hear this expression, you should recognize it as a question and be ready to answer it. One final example of an indirect question is, I'd like to know what type of skills you have that make you qualified for this job. The speaker uses the expression, I'd like to know, which means, can you tell me? Finally, in a typical interview in the US, not only does the interview ask you questions, but you will usually have an opportunity at the end of the interview to ask your own questions. The interviewer might say, do you have any questions for me? Or do you have any questions of your own? To make a good impression, it's really important that you have already prepared at least 2 questions before the interview and you ask these at this point. The questions should be related to the job or organization in some way. So, for example, you might ask, what opportunities are there for professional development in this company? Or, what is the next step in the interview process? So, now we've discussed some common questions in job interviews. Next, we're going to look at some ways you can ask for clarification in an interview when you don't understand the question. Thanks for watching.